What happens when someone known for their kindness is suddenly pushed into a corner, live and unfiltered in front of millions? That's exactly what unfolded when Jennifer Garner, one of Hollywood's most respected, most graceful stars, appeared on The View. No one in that studio or watching at home expected the morning to turn from a cheerful movie promo into one of the most talked about live TV moments in years. Jennifer came ready to discuss her new film, a heartfelt story about resilience and motherhood. The mood in the studio should have been warm, easy, but even before the cameras started rolling, the energy felt different. There was something in the air, that quiet charge you can almost feel before something big happens. The host smiled, the lights came up, and it all began like any other interview. Until Joy Behar leaned in, with that signature grin that's equal parts charm and challenge. Joy asked, "Jennifer, you're always playing these wholesome women. Moms, caretakers, angels. Don't you ever get tired of being nice all the time?" The audience laughed, but the laughter carried a strange note. It wasn't friendly. It was testing. Jennifer smiled politely, doing what she's always done, keeping her poise. "I like playing roles that reflect real people," she said lightly. "I think there's strength in kindness." But Joy wasn't satisfied. Sure, she said, waving her hand. "But don't you worry people don't take you seriously because of it? You know, all that America's mom talk." The question hit sharper than it sounded, and you could feel the room tighten. Whoopi shifted in her chair. Sunny Hostin fidgeted with her cue cards. Sarah Haynes's smile faltered. Jennifer straightened up, still calm but with a steel edge in her tone. "I don't think compassion is weakness, Joy. We could use a lot more of it these days. For a second it looked like that would end it." But Joy chuckled, her voice dipped with irony. "Compassion's great, but it doesn't win Oscars. Let's be real, nice doesn't sell." The audience tittered again, uneasy. Jennifer's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes flickered. Something real. She leaned forward slightly and said, "Maybe that's why the world feels so cynical, Joy. Everyone's chasing applause instead of peace." The air seemed to shift. Joy blinked, caught off guard, and Whoopi tried to steer things away with a laugh. "Okay, ladies, let's not start World War II before the break." But Joy wasn't done. "I just think it's funny," she pressed, "how some people act nice for the camera but aren't so sweet off it." The words landed like a slap. The audience gasped, even the crew froze. Jennifer's jaw tightened. She breathed in slowly, every inch of her control visible. "I hope you're not suggesting something personal," she said evenly. Joy smiled, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "I'm just saying Hollywood's full of surprises." That was the moment the interview turned into a confrontation. Jennifer's hand gripped the armrest. She could have laughed it off, but she didn't. Something inside her cracked open. "I've worked hard to stay true to myself," she said, her voice trembling just slightly but never losing its clarity. "If that doesn't fit your idea of entertainment, that's your problem, not mine." The audience erupted in applause. Even the hosts seemed stunned. Whoopi's eyebrows shot up. Sarah mouthed, "Oh my God." Joy rolled her eyes. Touchy, she muttered. Jennifer turned sharply toward her. "You know, Joy, I came here to talk about my film, not defend my character. But since you brought it up, kindness isn't an act. It's a choice. One I make every day, even sitting across from someone who confuses cruelty with honesty." The room went completely silent. Then a few claps started, then more until the entire studio was cheering. Whoopi jumped in quickly, waving to producers. "We'll be right back." But before the commercial could roll, Jennifer added softly, "We don't need more cynics, Joy. We need people who still believe in decency." The audience broke into thunderous applause again. Joy forced a laugh, muttering, "Looks like I hit a nerve." Jennifer's reply was cool and devastating. "No, Joy. You hit a mirror." Gasps filled the air. The producers scrambled. The feed cut to commercial, but the damage was done. When the show returned, the atmosphere was thick. The audience wasn't just watching anymore. They were waiting. Jennifer sat calm, hands folded. Joy's grin looked pasted on. Whoopi smiled into the camera, doing her best to smooth it over. "Welcome back to The View. We're here with the wonderful Jennifer Garner, who's been sharing about her new film. And, well, a few other things." The crowd laughed nervously. Jennifer thanked Whoopi graciously, but Joy couldn't resist one more jab. "Oh, we always keep it real here, Jennifer. Some people just don't like when real gets uncomfortable." The audience collectively gasped again, that drawn-out ooh sound everyone makes when drama's about to explode. Before Jennifer could respond, Sarah Haynes jumped in. "So, Jennifer, your new movie, it's about rebuilding life after tragedy, right?" Jennifer nodded, grateful. "Yes, it's about finding strength when everything falls apart." But Joy cut in again. "Kind of like you did after everything with Ben, huh?" The crowd gasped louder this time. Even Whoopi looked stunned. "Joy, no," she said sharply. "We're not doing that." Joy shrugged. "It's public. She's talked about it." Jennifer's eyes darkened. "I came here to talk about my work, not to relive my personal pain for entertainment." Her tone was low but carried through the whole room. Joy smirked. "But don't you think people connect with you because of that?" "The single mom thing. It's kind of your brand now." Jennifer inhaled deeply. "My brand?" she repeated. "Joy, I'm not a product. I'm a person. And that heartbreak you are referring to, that's my family's life, my children's privacy, not a talking point." The audience burst into applause again, louder than before. Some even stood up. Joy laughed uncomfortably. "Come on, Jennifer, it's the view." "We ask what people want to know." Jennifer's voice shook slightly, but with conviction. "Curiosity doesn't give you the right to humiliate someone. You call it being real. I call it being cruel." The silence that followed was suffocating. Joy blinked, clearly thrown off but too proud to admit it. "You know what's cruel," she shot back. "Pretending everything's perfect when it's not. People want honesty." Jennifer turned toward her fully now, her tone sharper. "Honesty isn't cruelty, Joy. Using honesty as an excuse to tear people down, that's cowardice." The audience erupted again, clapping, cheering, even whistling. Whoopi raised her hands. Okay, let's cool it." But Jennifer wasn't finished. She looked around the table and said softly, "I grew up watching this show. I admired the women who sat here because they built each other up. But what I've seen today," she paused, shaking her head, "this is just noise dressed up as empowerment." The crowd gasped once more. Joy's jaw clenched. Whoopi glanced at the floor manager, who hesitated to cut to break. The producers knew they were witnessing lightning in a bottle. Jennifer's voice steadied again. "I don't mind tough questions," she continued. "But when a woman uses her platform to tear another woman down for sport, that says more about her than the person she's mocking." Joy looked down, speechless for the first time. Sarah leaned over and whispered, "You handled that better than I ever could." Jennifer exhaled. "You learn to choose your battles," she said quietly. "But sometimes the battle chooses you." The audience rose to their feet, clapping as if they'd just witnessed a movie ending. When the segment finally ended, Whoopi closed with a calm but firm, "We'll be right back." The cameras cut. Producers rushed in. Jennifer's hands trembled slightly. Joy sat frozen, staring down at her cue cards. You could hear a pin drop. One of the producers whispered to Jennifer, "That was... wow." Jennifer just smiled faintly. "Not the press I came for," she murmured, "but maybe the one that needed to happen." Backstage, the tension was thick. Joy's voice could be heard echoing down the hallway. "I was doing my job. Everyone's too sensitive." Whoopi's reply was steady but stern. "That wasn't an interview, Joy. That was personal." Inside the green room, Jennifer stood near the mirror, sipping water, still replaying the confrontation in her mind. A young producer poked her head in. "That was incredible," she whispered. "Are you okay?" Jennifer smiled softly. "I'm fine." "Just wasn't what I planned." Sunny Hostin joined her, closing the door gently behind her. "You handled yourself beautifully," she said. Jennifer sighed. "It didn't feel beautiful. It felt like walking through fire." Sunny nodded. "That's what truth feels like sometimes." From outside, they could still hear the muffled argument. Joy insisting she'd done nothing wrong, producers trying to calm her down. Jennifer closed her eyes. "Do you think I went too far?" she asked quietly. Sunny shook her head. "No, Jen. You just drew a line. People forget even celebrities get to have one. Jennifer gave a small laugh, half relief, half disbelief. I've spent my whole career avoiding scenes like that, she said. But she went after my family, Sonny. That was a line I couldn't ignore. A few minutes later, Whoopi walked in. You okay? She asked gently. Jennifer nodded. I didn't mean to make it personal, she said. But I'm tired of pretending it's okay for people to talk about me like that and expect me to smile. Whoopi smiled softly. Then don't. Sometimes it's okay to stop smiling. Jennifer chuckled weakly. You think it'll blow over? Whoopi thought for a moment. No, it won't blow over. It'll explode. But maybe people need to see it. By that evening, clips from the show had flooded social media. The moment Jennifer said, "You hit a mirror," had gone viral. Millions of views within hours. Hashtags were everywhere. Hashtag Jennifer Garner speaks. Hashtag respect on the view. Hashtag Grace snaps back. Fans rallied behind her. Outside ABC's studios, people held signs reading, "Kindness is power." Entertainment sites were calling it the confrontation that redefined daytime television. The next morning, Joy walked into the studio quieter than usual. Whoopi sipped tea beside her and said evenly, "Morning." Joy muttered, "If I hear one more person say mirror, I'll lose it." Whoopi raised a brow. "Then maybe stop giving them reasons to." Joy sighed, sinking into her chair. "I didn't mean to offend her. I was doing my thing, poking, joking. That's what people expect." Whoopi glanced over. "There's a difference between poking and punching, Joy." For once, Joy didn't argue. Meanwhile, across town, Jennifer sat by her kitchen window, coffee untouched. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Interview requests, headlines, praise. Her daughter peeked in, smiling nervously. "Mom, you're all over TikTok. Everyone's calling you a queen." Jennifer smiled faintly. "I wish they were talking about the movie instead." Her daughter laughed. "They are, kind of." "You were real, and people love that." Jennifer looked down at her reflection in the coffee. "Being real shouldn't have to come with so much noise," she murmured. By noon, think pieces filled the internet. Variety wrote about the blurred line between tough journalism and televised cruelty. Some defended Joy as a truth-teller. Others said Jennifer had shown what true composure looked like under pressure. The View's producers were scrambling. By evening, Joy addressed it on air. "I may have pushed too hard," she said softly. "Jennifer's a class act. If it came off personal, that's on me." It wasn't quite an apology, but it was something. Jennifer didn't respond with interviews or statements. Instead, she posted a single message to her Instagram story. "We're all human. We stumble. We react. We learn. Kindness always wins." It spread like wildfire. Millions shared it. Even people outside Hollywood began discussing what had happened. Not as gossip, but as a conversation about empathy, boundaries, and respect. Over the next few weeks, the noise slowly quieted. Joy eventually reached out privately with a message. "You didn't deserve that." "I'm sorry," Jennifer replied simply. "Thank you. We're all learning no publicity, no cameras, just grace between two people who had been through the storm." Months later, Jennifer appeared on another talk show, smiling, calm, at peace. When the host asked about that day, she said, "Sometimes the universe gives you a microphone at the exact right time. The only question is, what will you say into it?" The audience applauded, and somewhere backstage at The View, Joy watched that clip, sighed softly, and said to herself, "Fair enough." Moments like that don't end when the cameras stop rolling. They echo. They ripple through the industry and beyond, reminding everyone that grace isn't weakness and kindness isn't submission. Sometimes standing your ground quietly can shake a whole room. Jennifer Garner didn't plan to make headlines that day, but she reminded millions of people watching that there's power in decency, and that real strength often speaks softly, but leaves a lasting sound.